What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is Professor Anime, and welcome back to yet again another Boruto Naruto Next Generations episode review. This is episode 23 we are talking about in today's review. So without further ado, let's get it started. So, overall, when it came down to this episode of Boruto, it was actually a relatively decent episode. I actually really enjoyed it. I did. There's only been a handful of Boruto episodes that have actually made me, quite enthusiastic about. There's only been a handful that have actually really, made me actually enjoy them, because, when it comes down to the other episodes that we have gone in Boruto in the past, the whole slice of life sort of thing and whatnot, and how slow it is, I mean, it's not really intriguing me all that much. But when it came down to this arc, I honestly have to say, good job on the animation studio, because you guys did a very good job when it came down to animating the Sarada Gaiden arc within the manga. I think you guys did a pretty good job when you guys animated this arc, because I really enjoyed it. However, there are portions within the episodes as well, specifically in this episode, where we saw, Boruto and also Chocho. I guess Chocho helped in a way, fight off the Shin clones. In that portion of the episode is where the animation started to show its derpy nature. There was a few images in which I'll put up on the screen right here, in which the the animators seem to have gone full Boruto Super on us. But honestly, that was probably the only complaint that I really had about this episode. However, when it comes down to the episode in its entirety, I actually really enjoyed it, and it was probably one of the better episodes of Boruto that we have had in a while, and probably the reason why I enjoyed it so much is not only are we seeing characters that we have seen in Part 1 and Part 2 of Naruto actually return in this one, not only that, but it was also focusing on Sarada's, perspective as to what she feels internally, regarding her mother and father, and just, who she is in general. And I thought that was a very cool focal point when it came down to this arc. But I think what really got me hyped when it came to this episode specifically with this arc is actually seeing Sakura kick ass once again. We hardly get to see that in Naruto. And you know what, me personally, I'm one of those characters that doesn't really care about Sakura too much. And honestly, I think the real reason why a lot of people don't care about Sakura, about her in general, is because of the fact that she got so little screen time that we kind of just forgot about her. And I honestly think that Masashi Kishimoto himself did not really go 100% when it came down to Sakura's character in general. I honestly think I even heard at one point that in an interview, he was just bored of Sakura's character, to be quite honest with you. And if an author becomes bored, I'm not saying that Masashi Kishimoto is, for example, because then again, this is probably just a rumor that I've heard in an interview, but let's just say he forgot about her, just for the sake of this video. If technically an author forgets about a character and doesn't really feel like putting any characterization within that character for a specific, enough time, that character is obviously going to fall off the fan base's radar as being, a character that they will look out for in the future and root for, and that's kind of what happened to Sakura. Sakura was always an annoying character. I will say that she was always an annoying character, especially when it came to Part 1 of, Naruto, but slowly she started to end up getting characterization, especially in Naruto Shippuden when she fought off, the arc with the Sand Village, what was it? Sasori. When she fought off Sasori, it was probably one of the biggest and hypest moments that Sakura actually had. And Sakura hasn't really had a lot of moments like that compared to, the rest of the characters within Naruto specifically, and to see her actually kick ass within this arc, especially when she was technically wiping the floor with Shin Uchiha, I mean, Sasuke hardly did anything in this. Naruto hardly did anything in this. Sakura was technically the one who was ultimately destroying this, clone. And it was freaking sick to see that. Especially when it came down to the animation between the whole fight scene with Sakura and Shin fighting it out. I honestly really enjoyed that scene. And it's things like this that make me want to actually care about, you know, for these characters in the future. Like, despite what you say about Sakura, you know, when she goes in, she ends up going in. And it's pretty cool to see. You know, I'm not that big of a fan of Sakura, but I will respect the fact that, hey, I mean, again, when she goes in, she goes in. And also, that is right, people, we are getting to the final part of this review, and that is going to be me talking about the official reveal that we got in this episode of Boruto. And that is the fact that Sakura is, in fact, the mother of Sarada. And Sasuke is, in fact, the father of Sarada as well. And it's not Gaiden. I said that in my last review of Boruto. But, if you guys have read the manga, you would know that this was technically just a troll on Masashi Kishimoto's part. So yeah, we find out that it's a complete misunderstanding from the end of this episode, and we find out that Sakura and Sasuke are in fact the real parents of Sarada Uchiha. So, the fandom, you can rejoice. Let me hear it. But yeah, I honestly thought that this was a very good episode of Boruto. It was definitely a lot more enjoyable than the other episodes that I have seen previously when it came down to Boruto. This whole arc that the animators animated, I think they did a pretty good job in for the most part. There was a few derpy moments, like I stated before, within this arc, especially in this episode regarding the whole, you know, Naruto versus the Shin Uchiha clones. You know, that scene right there in general had a few derpy moments in the animation, but when they went in with Sakura going against Shin, that was hype. That was hype. I really liked how all they, you know, they went through those transitions and all that. You know, it was really cool. It was really cool how they animated that fight scene. And overall, it was just really cool to see, you know, Sakura actually going in. When it comes down to this arc, you know, she was mainly the one who was, you know, plummeting the villain into the earth, technically. So that was good to see once again, and it ends off on a very, you know, it ends off on a sweet note. It does. Oh, and also there is one more thing. Apparently by the ending of this episode, we actually see that Shin Uchiha, the clones, apparently are brought into the Leaf Village under the caretaking of Kabuto, of all people. Like, it's just kind of weird how all of these people ended up causing, most of these people ended up causing, you know, the Fourth Great Shinobi War or whatever, you know, and it's like they're completely okay to stay in the Leaf Village, you know? They have their own little redemption stories, you know? And I guess Kabuto's redemption story for all this is to basically be the father figure of these Shin Uchiha clones, you know, so to speak, since technically they are still children. So, I mean, okay. Alright. Honestly, I thought this arc was going to only have one more episode, you know, to be quite honest with you, but apparently the arc is officially over, as in next week's episode we are actually going to have an episode featuring Boruto and Sarada, and I guess their overall, you know, goals and desires on who they want to become, because if you got, you know, a glimpse at the end of what Sarada said, she basically said, I decided, and that is when the credits started rolling. So, we'll hear in next week's episode what Boruto and Sarada, you know, have officially decided for themselves and who they want to ultimately become. You know, and you guys could probably take a few guesses if you have been paying close attention to the anime, or if you have read the manga for that matter. But yeah, that pretty much does it for my episode review of Boruto Naruto Next Generations. This is episode 23. I thought that this arc, the animators did a relatively good job in. I really did enjoy it, and I just hope that the future of Boruto will be as interesting as this arc was, because I am getting a little bit tired of the slice of life sort of deal. The only gripe that I would have to complain about when it comes down to this arc in general would have to be the villain, because Shin Uchiha isn't really particularly someone that I ultimately care for as a villain. You know, I think you have to have some level of sympathy for a villain to actually care about their role in the overall story and how they are going to be an obstacle, you know, for the heroes of the story. But that's just me. That's just me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What you guys thought about this entire arc of Boruto, Naruto Next Generations. How has it treated you? Did you like it? Did you hate it? What are your thoughts on next week's episode of Boruto? You have any predictions as to, you know, how the episode is going to roll out? Just let me know in the comments down below. And just let me know your favorite part about this episode of Boruto in general. My favorite part about this episode was definitely the fight with Sakura, and Sakura actually kicking ass and getting some screen time for once. You know, as a focal point. You know, she actually doing something, you know? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Be sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Hit that red subscribe button down below if you want to stay updated to my future content. And with that said, everyone, thank you all for watching. I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out.